Okay, we just finished proving ground number 1. We just talked about topics for our midterm presentation. You can see all of that stuff for the midterm presentation in Unit 8 because we don't do those presentations until we're done with the next assignment. So our next assignment is assignment 3. It is going to be a GIF or a GIF animation, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It stands for Graphic Interchange Format. This is one of the earliest forms of raster digital imaging. And what we are going to do is showcase a transformation through animation. So animation is the illusion of movement through sequential frames played through at a certain time, usually 24 frames per second. And the transformation means that it's going to be different beginning, middle to end. So this is not what's called a movement test. It's not enough just to make like a character walk, because there's no real difference there beginning, middle to end. But if the character walks and then Pink Floyd style catches on fire, you have a transformation. Right. So we're going to do this in a minimum of 9 keyframes, but we might need a lot more than that. So do you see a transformation here? Yes, indeed. Yeah, this is a past student example. So the other requirement besides it having to feature a transformation across a minimum of 9 frames or more is that you need to use something as an asset for your animation that you have already created in the class. So they chose to use their emoji. In this one, chose to use their creature and their landscape. What's the transformation here? The creature just walks across. That's not a transformation, but the creature kind of transforms or goes into its shell there and kind of rolls in and pops out of its shell. So how can you tell the story you're going to tell, the transformation? You're going to sketch it in a 9 square frame storyboard. So 3 on 3 square panels, just roughly sketched. And that's going to tell you what the main actions are of your animation. If there's a setting, who the characters are or character is, and what is actually changing, beginning, middle to end. And I'll admit, not a lot is happening in the middle of this one, just the rolling, right? But in the beginning, he rolls in, pops out, that's a transformation, then just kind of rolls or walks through, and then at the end, kind of curls up, and then the screen just restarts. It pans back. I will tell you, panning moves take a lot of planning. They're not difficult to do, they're really systematic, right? So don't think in terms of a cinematographer with lots of crazy camera moves necessarily if you're new to this. And storyboards often have camera move indicators with arrows. You don't necessarily need those. Okay, so this one, they use their emoji, and they just kind of stripped down a really basic version, and then the end form was their full, like, Great Gatsby emoji. What's the transformation here? So expressions can change, but that's not a transformation. That's just a movement, right? Like eyebrows can go up, mouths can open, but they're not transforming. They're just changing position. The effects around them, they just move, right? But the hearts do just appear. So it does transform from not having hearts to having hearts. But then there are some facial things that transform as well. The eyes change to little hearts, right? And then bounce, and then the nose grows, right? So the growing of something abnormally fast could be considered a transformation, like a lizard growing its tail back. Is the tongue a transformation? No. So what is a transformation? It means it changes state, right? What the tongue is a reveal. Because the tongue always looks that way. We're just delayed in seeing it. That's like saying a character coming in halfway through is a transformation. No, it's a reveal of a character. The nose does grow, does transform. So yeah, the nose transforms, the eyes transform, though it's very subtle. And even though the confetti falls, the confetti is not a transformation, but those Those hearts, because they kind of grow out of nowhere and then recede, they are transforming in scale. The mouth opens and the tongue is revealed, but I wouldn't say the mouth opening is any different than like an eyebrow changing shape. Does that make sense? Because mouths tend to open, but then they go right back. So transformation is, in the next instant, can it go back to its beginning? And transformations, no. Right? Transformations have to go through a middle step. So if my mouth catches on fire, I can't immediately take it back to a mouth that's not on fire. There are consequences to it being on fire, right? But if my mouth goes from a frown to a smile, it can immediately go back to a frown. Yeah, so there you go. Transforming is like having the needle go through the lips. And
now you can't go back.
all right, here's another one that uses the creature and the landscape. This one does not pan, and this one doesn't actually transform the creature. So what is the transformation here? You see, yeah, they got frozen. There's ice. So that is a transformation not of the character, but of the setting. So your setting can also transform. In fact, you can tell this whole story and showcase a transformation with something that the student already made without having the character there at all. It just wouldn't be as interesting, right? You could just have the weather suddenly change to frozen tundra, right? And then it can't immediately at a snap go back to being bright and sunny. It has to like thaw out. So that's a transformation. You can have a storm roll in. You can have lightning strike, right? And as long as the lightning strikes and it has a consequence, like it chars a stone or something, then it's a transformation. But if a storm rolls in, if it doesn't change the lighting in a way that then needs to change, that's not a transformation. If just the clouds just move, that's just movement. If clouds just move and then reveal lightning, that's just a reveal. You need consequences for transformations. So if the clouds roll in and everything darkens, that's a transformation. If lightning strikes and then something gets scorched, that's a transformation. Beginning, middle, end. Yeah. So all the examples I showed you looped. Looping is a nice way to finish these off. I calling the last panel setting it to reset, but it is not a requirement. So whether they loop or do not loop, that's going to be up to you. What does she mean by that? It's simply, does it flow endlessly or does it have a clear like jump cut at the end before it replays, right? So let's say you go from sunny day to darkness, right? And then does it jump cut right away to sunny day again? Restarts. That's not looping. But if it goes from sunny day to darkness and then the sunny day slowly peaks out again and then goes to darkness, then the sunny day slowly peaks out again, that's looping. So that's the end of the animation is set to reset to the beginning of the animation. So you'll see that these all are set to reset. You can't tell where the beginning point is. They're a loop. And they all feature a transformation. Would you agree? Yeah, this one is partially confusing. Because really it's a reveal, right? But it's such a stylish reveal that I take it as this feels very different than this, right? Conceptually. So it's like changing a moon into a person. But yeah, this is the one that's not as clear a reveal. I'm going to keep testing you on this. Which of these showcase a transformation? The second one? And is that it? And maybe the third one, because the third one has a transformation of the setting, right? He adds something with those like rays coming out. Yeah, and something gets removed. This one is just a change of expression, and that's just a reveal or a late addition. Okay, what about these? The first one has a transformation, yes, of all the colors. The last one looks like it does. Oh my God. But it doesn't. Because it doesn't change to something else. Yeah. So it's just moving its parts. Ash. The one in the middle, yes. I would say that this deflation is a significant change, right? You can't snap right back with it looking natural. It does, it kind of has to grow back. Yeah, I think all the others are just movement tests. Even though the eyes change here, it's a slightly different eye thing. Maybe you could argue for that, but other than that. Okay, and then these clear transformations going on, right? Lots of different ways. All right, so what do you guys need to do? There's lots of examples. You can kind of look at them. I love the work of Evan Cohen, who does print work and animation. You can see his animatic. So what we need to do is sketch out our intentions. And I'm going to demonstrate this for you beginning of next class. But I'm already thinking of what I want to do. And I'm going to sketch it like this for you. So I want you to come already knowing what thing you've already made in class you want to transform. I'm going to use my Skeletor emoji, right? And then what do I want to transform it into? Because it's kind of a cute Skeletor emoji. This is a mutated Ram Man toy from He-Man. And Skeletor's kind of logo is this ram's head skull. So I want to kind of take the cute emoji and take it through stages where eventually it turns into kind of a mutated ram creature. So that's my idea, right? And it's going to be pretty straightforward. It's going to show the emoji. It's going to slowly transform into something else and then slowly transform back. And that's what I'm going to show. I encourage you to look at the past examples. And you can see even more of them through the Imgur to see how students have done this. Now, what if you want to create a lot of new assets? You can do that as long as something you've already created in the class is in some way used in your animation. So if you use your line art jumble just as like a background cloud that rolls around, but you have an animation of something totally different that you wanted to hand draw. I warn against it because it's a lot of work, but that would meet the criteria. As long as you're showcasing a transformation. And you can showcase many transformations at once, right? Very slow. So this one, the intention for the student was to have it turn and change the card each time, right? So it flipped between two, but they just ran out of time. And so there isn't actually any transformation here. It's just a movement reveal. But they did a nice job controlling the points of contact, and they wanted to post it. I don't curate the Imgur ones, right? But it can give you ideas. Yeah, anyway, you can look at these on your own time. Okay, so we'll be sketching your storyboards beginning of next class, and then we're going to jump right into it. So make sure, the reason I have you use something you've already created is you already have an asset you can start building. So we can set up the right pixel dimensions. It's going to be 8 by 8 inches by 100 pixels per inch, because animations are made for screen, right? All right. I look forward to it. Good work today.